Hello everyone, it's FlareBlitzed and welcome to a new morning. Now this isn't your typical horror, let's go somewheres but we don't know who we are and we don't know how we woke up or anything like that, lost our identity, wondering where we go, stuff like that. No, this is an educational game about autism, and this game is made by people with autism themselves, so it's kind of like, what's a good comparison? It's like design a car and design it for both adults and children, but you have both adults and children with you to be able to test out if the car itself is suitable to be able to fit all people in, rather than just reading about what it is in a book. So this hits quite home to me since I have autism myself. I don't like to keep saying it over and over again like in videos and stuff like that, because I think you guys have probably worked out by now that with trying to say words and stuff like that I mispronounce them or stuff like that, and I feel like this is a very important thing for people to understand, because even though understanding of autism has dramatically improved over the years, there's still people out there that don't understand what it is, and it has differences both subtly and what you would call obviously. So like, you immediately see a person who has autism based upon their facial expressions, their audible way of communicating with the world. Like sometimes it may not be something that is a reaction, but it just happens. Good morning, B. It's a weekday, so you have school. You need to get ready before the bus comes. Some disabled people use a metaphor called spoon theory to talk about the extra energy used when you have a disability. Try to get ready without using too many spoons. Use the arrow buttons to move and the spacebar to interact with objects and people. Use the escape button to get to the menu. The menu has your checklist of interactable items. Best of luck. Thank you very much. So, we'll just start with this room, Let's see. Many autistic people have special interests. These are strong interests that bring joy to autistic people and can be the main focus of their attention. Special interests can help autistic people make friends, learn, and keep the basis of their job. Temple Grandin's interest in animals led her to revitalize the livestock industry. Satoshi Tahari's interest in bugs and social gaming led him to create Pokemon. Yes, Pokemon, one of the biggest franchises in the world, was founded, or at least created, I think they're the same thing really, by somebody who has signs of autism. So there's a lot of creativity out there that has been made by people over the years with autism, and I don't think people really understand or appreciate what people with autism can bring to the world, because unfortunately we have a stigma within employment really, where if you put on paper that you're autistic or something like that, that immediately gets thrown in the bin in comparison to somebody else who has exactly the same qualifications and stuff but they don't have autism. Like, it's discrimination to see that and think that it's a hindrance. There are workplaces nowadays where they actually think that having someone with autism is a huge plus. Who knows where your interest in knights and legends might lead you? Okay, I know I've got to get ready for school. Many autistic people have items that help them stay calm and happy, called comfort objects. This is yours, Mr. Blue Bear. Bring Mr. Blue Bear to school. I think we should do that. Your comfort item will help you stay calm today. +1 spoon. Bed. I'm so tired, but I can't get back to bed. Chronic sleep problems affect 50 to 80% of autistic children. 5? Had a 5 at the end of there, so I wonder if there's a few other things that we need to see. So I imagine every single object here is interactable. There's a plant pot. You look in the mirror and see yourself looking back. Autistic children are at least 7 times, I was about to say 7% there, more likely than the general population to be gender non-confirming. If studies were done with autistic adults using self-reporting methods, this number may be higher. Okay. That's something I didn't know. That's very cool. That's very cool to know. Autistic people use fiction as an escape just like anyone else and can be avid readers. I fit into this category perfectly because I find life just unbearable at times. Well, not unbearable, but I use fiction as an escape from real life annoyances and stuff that can really get you down. Science fiction and fantasy are common favourite genres of autistic people. Yeah, remember, fiction and fantasy are two very different things. Fiction can still be realistic in a real scenario, but fantasy, you know, I can't just pull out a lightsaber and expect that to be real, you know. And that's science fiction. Okay, science fantasy as well. Genres of autistic people. Cool. And there's a picture up there. Nope. Bunnies. You are allowed to bring all your stuffed animals to class, but only one can fit in your backpack. When you bring more, the other kids in class make fun of you. 63% of autistic children experience bullying at a rate of 3 times their allistic? Okay, autistic. There we go. Non-autistic siblings. So I wonder what these numbers represent. Is there an order in which we need to experience these information in? This information in. I never knew the word autistic. I'm very surprised. Like if I never read this game, I would never know what that is. Oh, you forgot to do your homework. Do it now. Your homework is done. That's a good achievo. You'll be more tired at school now. -1 spoon. That's a theme that we also unfortunately have as well, but it also can be the other way where we neglect responsibility and stuff until the last minute. You could just say that's like most university students, but trust me, there are times where you find something so traumatizing that you never want to go near it. You don't want to touch it. You don't want any association with it. For me, that's using a mobile phone, for example. You probably think, Flare, what's the big issue with using mobile phones? Well, sometimes it can be down to experience, sometimes it can be down to other people's experiences. There is always something out there which causes something to happen. Like, if it's a reaction that you see visually, or if it's a neurological reaction, biological reaction, the correct way of saying it is that it just happens. And we can't explain why it happens, but it happens. Your math textbook, you're pretty good with numbers. Same here. I prefer maths over English. English, too complicated. Maths, 1 + 1 is 2. Like, that happens in any language. Visual schedules help many autistic people plan for their day and lead them through their activities. Yours include dress, brush teeth, homework, breakfast, get Lance. I thought that was like the weapon Lance. Take meds, put on shoes, catch bus. Okay, so we have a schedule. Should we follow the schedule? Obviously we should, but where would they be? You are not old enough to drink that. That's fine. Adult food. Gross. Many autistic people have childish palates and have texture sensitives. They are also more likely to have food allergies than the general population. Yeah, when I was much younger, I had an intolerance to anything with wheat, gluten or barley in. And over years that's matured, so I can have anything with that now. The more you know. I was about to say something else there, but I've literally forgotten. Like, you have something on your mind and it just suddenly disappears. Fire. Tick tock, tick tock. Oh. You hate the sound of this clock. -2 spoons. Bad sensory input can create sensory overload in autistic people, leading to anxiety, meltdowns, or shutdowns. An experience like this might be referred to as sensory hell. Yep, I can understand that as well. Like with low voices, I can barely hear them, but with high-pitched voices, it's like a banshee, which I'd think that would be the best way to describe this scenario. Sensory overload, sensory hell. If there's a way to just put it into one word, I would describe it as a banshee. You know, banshee's wail, something like that. You know it's there, but you can't differ what it is, but whatever you can input, it's terrifying. Okay, let's talk to Mom. Mom is greeting you good morning. Make eye contact. Okay, that's another thing that autistic people have a big problem with. And I'm not saying it's like you've got to deal with this immediately, but it's something that happens, and it's something that is very subtle to notice, that we struggle with eye contact. We struggle with PowerPoint presentations, for example. Like meeting eye contact with people. Like, most of the time when it comes to presentations, I have to literally get myself like this and look at the audience emotionally. But all I want to do is just stare at the ground while reading the words on the PowerPoint presentation. Some autistic people find eye contact uncomfortable, unnatural, or even painful. Even though that was something that we lost a spoon, it is something that is important to understand and grasp. Good morning, B. Is today a talking day? Is today a talking day? Squat! Yes, yes. How do you say that word? That's another thing. Pronunciation. You may notice in a lot of my Let's Plays, there are words which I can't pronounce, which other people think, how the hell could you not be able to pronounce that? That's so easy. It's how we visualize the information. The English language is so poor when it comes to phonetic alphabet. Like, how do you say it in comparison to how it's spelt? And I may be using the wrong word. Like, phonetic, I'm not sure if phonetic is like Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, stuff like that. That could be another thing entirely. Echolalia is repetition of words and phrases. Sometimes this repetition has no inherent meaning and is used as a verbal stim. But echolalia can be communication too, even when it seems random. Can't wait to hear what you have to say. Remember to pace yourself so you don't tire out. Okay. Autistic people can be verbal, non-verbal, or somewhere in between. Some autistic people use alternative communication like sign language, yes, or picture boards. That one varies depending on the situation. Like, sometimes I would have to draw something out in order to describe what it is I'm thinking right now, because you get into a state where you want to get the information out, but the words don't come to you. Like if something caught you, like grabbed your throat halfway through, and it prevents you from being able to speak, and then you feel frustrated because you're unable to speak what you want. Like, part of my life, I've always blamed autism for my shortcomings, but you gotta remember that there are so many things out there which are far worse than having autism. Let's say cancer, for example. Like, autism is not a disease like people who don't have a grasp of what autism is keeps claiming to be. Or that one time where a fraudulent doctor decided to investigate the fact that they believe that the MRI jab, or is it MRI jab, that causes people to develop autism. Like, just cut that out right now. That is not the case. You don't get autism through MRI. Although, when I was very younger, I used to interpret the MRI as something that would cause autism. So therefore, I wouldn't want to get my second jab. Your fine motor skills aren't the best, but you're working on them. Shouldn't touch the knife. You might cut yourself. That's why I don't like photography. Not like, cut that out. It's not that I don't like photography. It's just the fact that I can't hold a camera still. Like, when you try and hold something very still, there's always slight vibrations with your fingers and your fingertips and stuff like that. Like, that's like a physical sense in which we have trouble doing. Or, on the other hand, it's something which we can master very well. It's either one extreme or the other extreme. Like, it's not all autistic, where it's most of the time in the middle, where you can control your fingertips and hands and stuff like that very well. You love listening to the sound of a sink running, plus 1 spoon. And I was very, very fortunate of being able to go to a school where they had a building where it will just have autistic people as students. Like, they have teachers and tutors which studied in autism and specialized in understanding what autistic people go through. One thing that they can't have is be able to truly empathize, because they'd have to have autism themselves. So if you had an autistic teacher that studied in autism and worked with autistic pupils, then that can be empathy. Old food, bad smells, minus 1 spoon. Okay. Oops, shouldn't open mum's laters. Up to 85% of autistic children have a... what on earth is that word? Comorbid psychiatric diagnosis such as anxiety or ADHD. 35% take psychotropic medication. Yes, yeah, still with these numbers in brackets, I'm not sure what they represent. Take your meds, yes. You'll be able to focus at school today, plus 1 spoon. Oh dear, what would happen if we run out of spoons? Dress, brush teeth. Have we dressed? Because we've just done our second to last step. Who is Lance? I'm presuming Lance is something along those lines. Okay, we've already looked at that. As many as 1 in 10 autistic people are considered savants, which means they have extraordinary skills in one specific area. Yes, that is absolutely true. We find an area which we love in, and we're so motivated by it that we can just, master it. Like playing the piano, for example. But it also helps when you have long fingers as well with the piano. But we're just looking at this as like a example of a skill. These amazing skills can be in music, art, math, or many other things. You're very good at the piano, but you wouldn't consider yourself a savant. You're still learning. I'll read that servant first. Many autistic people feel connected to animals. Pets can be a great comfort for adults and children and allow them to connect with the world. This is your service dog, Lance. Okay. Autism service dogs are becoming more common and are frequently used to help ease social anxiety or stop self-harming behaviours. Add Lance to your party. Yes, Lance is going to help you at school today. He'll help you navigate the chaotic and confusing atmosphere. And that's something I hated when I was younger. I hate crowds. And in a way, I still do. But it's not like I go into a city, let's say in a post-COVID scenario, and I don't mind that there's a lot of people, but I don't like a huge amount of noise. It's being able to interpret the information and being able to understand what it is, because if you don't understand what it is or where it's not coming from and like the cause of it, then it becomes confusing, and when we're confused we can't think properly. So what they're saying about dogs being a very, very good what's the right word? A good comfort animal to help you in these situations is definitely true. Like, at times I feel like animals are more innocent than people are. They definitely are. Good boy. Many autistic people have heat intolerance and prefer cold temperatures. Yes! My other problem is that I'm overweight, but okay, let's just see this. Have heat intolerance and prefer cold temperatures. Some autistic people do not like wearing coats or heavy clothing for this reason. Shoes equipped. Right, so what else is on our to-do list? Let's see. Brush teeth, of course. Dress, brush teeth, homework, breakfast, get Lance, take meds, put on shoes, catch a bus. So where could we brush our teeth? Most autistic people stim, short for self-stimulation. These are ways that autistic people regulate their internal and external environment. Common stims are flapping hands, rocking, spinning, singing, or feeling textures. Your glitter jars are a fun way for you to stim using visual input. You shake your glitter jars and watch the glitter swirl for several minutes, plus 1 spoon. Phone's going off, that's fine. So is this the front door? Are you ready for school? But I haven't brushed my teeth yet. Where could we go and brush our teeth? I am at a loss of where another room could be. Are we meant to know where the bathroom is so that we can be able to brush our teeth, or is that it? Either way, this has been a thoroughly nice experience and a change for me personally, because you learn something new every day. Okay, while autistic people are commonly drawn to water, they're also 40% more likely to die by drowning than the general population. That is alarming. Yeah, my own personal experience with swimming was, when I was younger, very, very traumatic. But one day I decided I'm going to conquer my fear by not being afraid to go into the water and just listen to the swimming instructor and be able to actually swim. Okay, you're ready for school? Yes, I'm ready. You did your best day, just like every day. Some days are harder than others. Yes, indeed, just like it is for everyone else. A little understanding will go a long way. Yeah, don't just take things at surface value. Put yourself in the shoes of that person and see that, no, it's not just unnecessary. There's many layers to it. Game created by Luca, I don't know how to pronounce that surname. Art by the same person, music by Riley Harper. Custom scripts, title screen, Mock Hunter, Questlog DRS, menu editor, Etude 87. Okay. I was thinking what the numbers were, but they're references. They're what do we call them in school? For goodness sakes, stupid phone. Bibliography, no. What do they have at the end of any thesis and stuff like that, so it marks references down? It can be referred to as a bibliography, but it's got another name to it. Like, it's something that's like a necessity for any thesis. Like, bibliographies are optional if they need to be in there, but there's another word for it. It's not coming to mind. Okay, sources number 1. Increased gender variance in autism spectrum disorders and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Strain et al. 2013. Okay, number 2. Bullying in students on the autism spectrum. Yeah, unfortunately, as well, when I went for education, I had times where, and it's always the same people as well, who used to just pick on me for whatever reason. Sometimes my height, other times for my spots. Then there's other times where it would just be just random because they think I'm a weak target. Number 3, injury mortality in individuals with autism. Number 4, the Savant syndrome, an extraordinary condition, a synopsis past, present, future. I don't know how to pronounce that, 2009. Number 5, autism's canonical companions, frequent comorbidities with ASD, autism spectrum disorder. Thanks for playing. Thank you. Game over. Oh my god. Usually when I'm met with a game over, it's usually like because of something I did. Anyways, that was a wonderful experience to withhold. Not because we went through some crazy dungeon or anything like that, but because of the information that you can take on board when looking at a game like this. Like, I think that putting this within a game form is a lovely idea, because not only is it information to read, but it's also something that you interact with. And myself, I love interacting with games because ever since I was very young as well anyways, but it's something in which is a comforting tool to escape from real life scenarios which are harsher. Like, the real world out there is very harsh, but it's only as harsh as you can make it out to be. So if you deal with it, then the world is not so harsh, but that is very easy to say and not very easy to do. The easy way out is to just put it all under the rug and just forget about it. Nah, that rug is going to increase over time in height, and you're going to realize those problems are going to keep building up and up and up and up until it becomes a point where you can't even move in your own house or can't even think in your own mind, because these problems are trying to be bottled up in a space in which it cannot be contained in. And that's when emotions go really haywire. But that applies for anyone, really. But I love the fact that the developers made the game like this so that it is a good educational tool to people who either don't understand autism, or people that do have autism, or people that have an interest in learning about autism, but they may learn something new from it, and also just learn a lot of things about it in its entirety, or looking at this game and thinking that there's so many things in here which I don't know about, therefore I really have learned something about from all of this. Anyways, rambling on stuff like that is unfortunately another trait in which autistic people have, is the ability to look at something and just keep rambling on about it, and even going off topic about it, but you don't realize it until it gets to a point where you eventually realize that you do ramble on about it. So I hope this has been good for everyone. It's not been my usual endeavour of going through a game, as I've said probably about 2 or 3 times already, but I hope you've all taken something away from this game and know that people with autism, they have some really what am I saying? People with autism have just as much right to be in the world as people without autism have. So I'm really glad this is something in which we can experience this game. Thank you so much for watching, guys. There'll be a link down in the description below where you can find this game for yourself. It is absolutely for free, and we shall see each other in the next video. Have a lovely day and take care of yourselves.